Hello there. Well, I'm Helen and I'm part of our Mindful Me team, a team of us who work together to provide teaching, run workshops, and see people speaking about mindfulness practice, how to live it, how to be involved with a group of people who like to practice it, how we teach it. And so what I'm going to do on Monday evenings for a while is talk with you about mindfulness, the practice of it. I'm presuming that a great many of you know, having done mindfulness or read about mindfulness, have some understanding. So normally we would begin by suggesting that each person sitting here introduces themselves and says, why have they come? And most people would say, well, I'm here because I was drawn by the topic, or I'm here tonight because I'm interested in meeting with a group of like-minded people. So I'll begin the introduction by saying, hello, I'm Helen, and I'm a mindfulness and meditation teacher. I work as a psychotherapist. I love speaking with groups of people and being taught by others who are sitting here, who explain and teach and share with us how they manage to live from a mindfulness perspective in this weird, challenging, crazy, troubling, interesting, opening time that we're living in. We need mindfulness more than we ever have before. So if I began by saying to you that mindfulness is the practice of choosing to be present on purpose in the moment without judging whether we've got it right. And why would we need to choose to be present? Because if we're not here in the moment, the only other place we can be is in the future or in the past. There is only here. The other places we go to in our minds, we can be here in our bodies and in our hearts, and we leave here by traveling, time traveling in our minds. The vast majority of people I've been speaking with over the last month have time traveled into the future. Some go back into the past a bit. Now, I'll demonstrate it by saying, well, I discovered in the last few days I've done that a bit. I stood in the kitchen and thought, I seldom cook, and cooking I'm going to do. What do I really fancy? And interestingly enough, what came to mind was a really funny memory, a taste really, of a sweet called honey bubbles. It's made out of rice bubbles, butter, honey and sugar. Very rich, very sweet. Cooked up quickly on the stove, and I discovered it took less than 5 minutes to make, and I'm ashamed to tell you, I ate it all. I made a small batch and I ate it all very quickly and thought as I was eating it, oh my goodness, I remember this feeling from my childhood. And I recognized that it was a piece of self-soothing. It was a taste that brought me a memory of being loved, having fun and being playful and being at peace as a child. It also reminded me of making it for my own children, usually on a rainy Saturday when there was nothing much to do. So to go forward into the future is for us to go into the land of the unknown. And because of this virus, we tend to go into what might happen, what could happen, what we believe, we hope will happen, what we think should happen, what we read about, what someone else has told us about. And in the process of doing that, we get utterly involved in in our thinking mind with thoughts of what might, what could, what hasn't, what we hope will, and it is anxiety, fear, and worry producing. So in order to help to soothe ourselves, we try to remain present to the moment. What I want to talk to you tonight about is self-soothing. Now, those of you who know me well know that one of my favorite words is, how can I give myself a cuddle? I think about fear and anxiety like being trapped in a room full of a lot of little children who are very, very upset and crying and calling, pick me up, give me a cuddle, give me some attention. And I want you to think about anxiety as being like that. So I love teaching this fact. On your pad right now, write down the word anxiety. A-N-X-I-E-T-Y. And if you took a minute to look at the letters made up in that word, you would discover that they actually spell two words: any, exit. When we become very anxious in our bodies, we begin to panic. Our fight and flight is kicked in. So we either freeze, or we want to get angry and fight, or we want to flee and run away. But what we want to do is leave, and take any one of those forms to leave. So the fact that anxiety spells any, exit, helps us to see that when we become frightfully anxious, we take any exit away from the anxiety. And I want you to think about anxiety as being like a crying child, wanting to be held and soothed. And if over time we were able to learn how to do that, we would discover that within us, deep within us, we have all the tools we need to learn how to settle ourselves. And that, my friends, is a skill worth learning. I know that many of you right now are alone, as I am. That many of you are in a very crowded house. That many of you are home, working, looking after children, and with a partner who's also doing the same thing. Many of you are separated from each other. For some, the situation is so totally unideal, it's very painful. And for others, it's actually opening a whole new way of being. We're all different, but each of us are encountering anxiety and fear right now. And to learn how to recognize that as it arrives in your body, and to learn how to tame it in your body, is a great skill to have. Anxiety takes place in your mind. The skill of learning how to settle yourself takes place in your body. So we're going to learn different ways of dropping from our bodies, from our minds down into our body. Different ways of being here. Because the easiest way to do it is to get used to touching yourself. So what I want you to do is discover where you're sitting in your comfortable place, what's happening in your body right now. Take some nice deep breaths in, roll your shoulders up and back and down. Let your body settle where it is and notice what's happening, where there's tightness and tension. Could be for you across the back of your shoulders, or it could be here in your face, in the frown, in the gripping of the jaw, in the holding of the hands. It could be that you're gripping the muscles in your belly or in your buttocks, pulling tight on your legs. And I want to teach you one very simple technique. You know, it is the out-breath that helps us to let go. It is the out-breath that provides us with soothing. And if we could get used to recognizing that one good long out-breath has the means to settle and soothe us, we know how to practice it more often. So are you with me? Have you written that piece down? One good out-breath. So in order to have a good out-breath, you have to have a good in-breath. Breathing. Breathing happens in your body. And it's interesting that it comes in through your nose, but this is only the passageway. The rest of the breath comes down your throat and actually settles in your body. So let's just for a minute or so practice just breathing. Taking a breath in through your nose. It really helps if you make your mouth smile. Notice how much your chest rises. Now I'll tell you some interesting things about breathing. If you sit up straight and pull your elbows back, you make much more space to take a breath in through your nose. It helps you to take a deeper breath when you turn up the corners of your mouth and gently smile. It actually helps you to feel better, always, when you gently smile. Turn the corners of your mouth up, take an in-breath. Follow the passageway of it down into your chest. Follow the passageway of it down. Now think about this as you're breathing in the next time. It is absolutely, completely impossible to speak on an in-breath. You want to try? We speak on the out breath. We speak on the out breath, and as we're speaking, you could go on for quite a long time, apparently without taking another breath at all. But if you were to just notice, you'd see that you're taking little tiny pockets of breath in on the way past. So that if you had plenty of breath in there, you could talk for quite a length of time when you think about it, without really noticing when you take the next breath in or not. But you certainly cannot speak on the in-breath. This is a very handy thing to do when you're feeling very anxious around your children. That one deep breath means that briefly you are silent, and the breathing space gives you the ability to make a choice about whether you will react like crazy or just respond next. So I'll tell you some other things about out breath. Breathe with me and notice this. An in breath. Notice how your body moves to accommodate the amount of air that it goes right back down into your belly. Now we're going to focus on the out breath, and I'm going to show you what happens if you make the in breath lengthy enough to store some air in your body, how long you can make the out breath, and notice what it can do. So as you breathe in now, collect up as much air as you can, slowly. And as you breathe out, whoosh it. And notice, while the breath leaves your body, gently through your mouth with a whoosh, that your shoulders drop, that your belly settles, that your hands uncurl. So bring attention to the notion that the in-breath provides you with the oxygen you need. The out-breath releases tension and tightness in your body and helps you to soften and settle. When your mind knows that, then it knows that the skill of a good breath in is the ease of settling and steadiness on the out breath. Let's try it. Now, those of you who know me well will know that I'm going to suggest you make a sound when you breathe out. We call this a meditation practice, but you can do this sitting, standing, or lying down. Humming, a great family practice. But this is one of the most effective methods of getting yourself from your mind down into your body. If you've done it 1,000 times with me before, remember how good it feels. And those of you who were at the last mindful living session that we had, when there were a good many of us together, we remember that we sat and hummed for nearly 15 minutes. And wasn't it wonderful? Wasn't it a wonderful feeling? So I'll show you how to do it. One hand on your belly, the other hand here at the top of your chest, your finger in the hollow of your throat. As you breathe in, what we're going to do now is keep the mouth closed but smiling, and pick a sound and hum it. Follow me. What I hope you're noticing is that you're paying attention to the vibration and to the feeling in your belly and to the sound that you're making. Now imagine that all of us who are listening right now are all doing this together at the same time. If we were all in the same room, we would all have pitched at a different sound. Some would go low, some would go, some would go in between, and together we would sound like an orchestra, like a choir. But what's actually happening is that we're paying attention to the vibration in our body, and we've come away from thinking. If we sat and did this together for several minutes, what you would notice, actually quite clearly, is that you're not paying attention to your thinking mind. It's actually inviting your body to pay attention to itself down here, and that's why the humming helps. And it's why I often think of it as one of my most favourite methods of actually meditating. So nowadays, when there is so much noise happening at us from outside, take this moment to actually meditate on a sound within you. Let's do it for a minute or two together. Start with noticing your natural rhythm in your body. Become aware of how your body actually would like more oxygen than you're actually giving it. And on our next out breath now, we hum.